Chapter 1. Holiday Time. Laura and Max are twins. They live in London with their mum and dad. They always have interesting adventures on holiday. They visit different cities and countries. This summer, they are going to stay in a small cottage in the country. The cottage is in a village called Stone Cross, near Salisbury. Max and Laura aren't very happy.
Boring,
says Max.
He looks at the map.
The cottage is in the middle of a field. What can we do in the middle of a field?
Why are we going there?
Asks Laura. Their dad is very tired. He says he wants to relax and to sleep a lot. Their mum loves the country. She wants to walk and paint.
It's a very beautiful part of England,
she says.
Full of culture, tradition, mystery.
Mystery?
Say Max and Laura together.
Mystery? OK, let's go.
Chapter 2. Stone Cross. The next day, Uncle Stephen and Auntie Barbara arrive. They have lots of suitcases. This year, the two families are going on holiday together. Mum drives her car. Dad sleeps. Dad always sleeps. Uncle Stephen and Auntie Barbara follow in their slow, old car. 2 hours later, they arrive at Stone Cross and find their cottage in the middle of a field. There are green hills, beautiful cottages, flowers, sheep and cows everywhere.
It's lovely,
say Max and Laura.
It's perfect,
say Mum and Auntie Barbara. Dad says nothing. He is sleeping in the car.
What do you think, Stephen? Do you like it?
Uncle Stephen doesn't answer. He is looking into the distance. His eyes are very black and strange.
What's the matter, Stephen?
Asks Auntie Barbara.
Don't you like the cottage?
Yes, it's wonderful,
he says.
Come on, everyone. Let's take these suitcases inside. Wake up, Andrew!
Dad wakes up.
What? Oh, where are we? We're here at Stone Cross. Come and help. We must take the suitcases into the cottage.
They take the suitcases and go inside, but Uncle Stephen waits. He wants to talk to his wife.
Barbara, I must tell you something,
he says. His voice is very serious.
This place...
Yes, darling?
This place is in my book. Do you remember? The book I am studying about mysteries.
But, Stephen, that book is very old. It's full of strange codes and secret messages.
Exactly. Don't you understand? This is the place where...
Come on, Barbara. Come on, Stephen.
Shouts Mum from the cottage.
We're coming!
Uncle Stephen and Auntie Barbara answer. But when they walk to the cottage, their faces are white. They look very worried. Chapter 3. Mr. Carter and Mrs. Black. The cottage is big. There are 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms upstairs. Downstairs, there is a big kitchen, a living room and a study. Uncle Stephen wants to use the study. He must finish some work during the holiday. Uncle Stephen is a historian.
What does Uncle Stephen do exactly?
Laura asks. Her mother replies.
He studies history.
Max is confused.
But I study history too. At school. But it's not my job.
Yes, but Uncle Stephen writes books about history. He thinks about history. He tries to understand the things that no one understands.
For example?
Asks Laura.
Well,
Mum replies.
for example, the mystery of Stonehenge.
So, what about Stonehenge? What is its mystery?
No one really knows. Ask Uncle Stephen. Tomorrow we can go to see it.
Suddenly there is a knock at the door. Mum opens it and an old man comes in. He has white hair and an angry face.
My name's Carter.
He says in an angry voice.
I look after this cottage. Is everything okay? There is wood for the fire in the garden. There are sheets and pillows upstairs. If you have a problem, tell me. Have you got any problems?
Now Mum remembers. Yes, Mr. Carter is the caretaker. He looks after the cottage when no one is staying in it.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. It's very kind of you, but we have no problems.
Mr. Carter wants a problem to solve, so he is not very happy. He goes to the door. Then he stops suddenly, turns around and looks at them.
Mrs. Black is coming,
He says.
Mrs. Black is coming soon. Be careful.
He opens the door and goes out.
What?
Asks Mum.
Who is Mrs. Black?
Asks Max.
And why be careful? Is she dangerous?
Asks Auntie Barbara.
Probably a witch from Stonehenge.
Says Laura. Everyone laughs.
Don't talk about things you don't understand.
Says Uncle Stephen. There is another knock at the door. They all stop. There is silence in the room. Max opens the door. No one speaks.
Hello, everyone.
Says a happy voice. A woman comes into the cottage. She is quite old, fat, but she is pretty. She has blue eyes, silver earrings, and a big pink face.
Hello. My name's Mrs. Black.
Mrs. Black is a housekeeper. She helps with the cooking and cleaning. When a family comes for a holiday in the cottage, she helps them. She lives in a different cottage in the village with her son. Mrs. Black is very nice, and they start to relax. Later they eat a big dinner, and then say goodbye to their new friend, the housekeeper. They are very tired, and soon everyone is sleeping. Everyone but Uncle Stephen. He can't sleep, because he is thinking about the book he is studying. Chapter 4. Laura and Max explore the village. In the morning, Laura and Max decide to explore the small village of Stone Cross.
Bye. Have a nice time. Come home for lunch at 1 o'clock.
Says their mother. In the square there is a post office, a baker's, a greengrocer's, a newsagent's, and some other small shops.
Let's buy something to drink in this newsagent's.
Says Max.
It's very hot.
A woman is working in the shop. They say,
Good morning.
and smile at the woman, but she does not smile at them. She looks at the twins with cold eyes.
You two aren't from Stonecross. What do you want?
The woman is not very friendly,
2 cans of Coke, please.
says Max.
£1.60.
She gives them 2 cans of Coke, and they give her the money. The woman's cold eyes do not change.
Tourists don't usually come to Stonecross.
She says. Her voice is cold, too.
It's not a good idea. Remember that.
Yes, okay. Thank you. Goodbye.
says Laura. They run out of the shop very quickly. In the square, the sun is shining. Everything is normal again,
Wow, there are some strange people in this village.
says Max. They walk along another street, and suddenly a man appears. He is not very old. He is wearing a dark suit and a tie with a strange design on it. The twins stop. The man smiles. He says,
Hello, hello. 2 explorers in Stone Cross. Are you on holiday? Are you having a nice time?
Yes, thank you.
replies Laura.
My name's Martin Knight. What are your names?
Max and Laura Morell.
They say together. Sometimes twins understand what the other is thinking. Sometimes they speak together.
Morell. Is your father the famous historian Stephen Morell?
No, he's our uncle, not our father. He's on holiday with us in Stone Cross. Do you know him?
The man doesn't answer Max's question.
I see Stephen Morell is here in Stone Cross. Very interesting. And tell me, what is he studying at the moment?
Oh, a really old book about mysteries and secret...
Sorry, Mr. Knight, but it's very late. We must go home and have lunch.
Laura stops him.
Come on, Max, it's time to go.
Can we meet tomorrow?
Says Martin Knight.
You can tell me about your uncle's old book.
Okay.
Says Max.
Come on, Max.
Says Laura, and the twins go back along the road.
Sorry, Max, but I don't like that man.
Explains Laura.
He wants to know about Uncle Stephen and his books.
But Uncle Stephen is very famous. Lots of people want to know about him.
I know, but this man is different. I can't explain why.
Not everyone is strange in Stone Cross. Think of Mrs. Black. She's a nice, normal woman.
Yes, you're right, sorry. But now it's 1:45, and we must go home.
Chapter 5. A Visit to Stonehenge. When the twins get home, everyone is waiting for them. Mrs. Black is there too.
What do you think of our little village?
She asks.
The village is lovely, but some of the people are strange.
Replies Laura. Mrs. Black laughs.
I know. Don't worry about the people. They don't see many tourists. Not many people come to Stone Cross. Are you ready to go to Stonehenge this afternoon?
Asks Auntie Barbara. Mrs. Black says,
Ah, you're going to Stonehenge. It's nothing special. A circle of old stones, that's all.
Stonehenge is near the village of Stone Cross. They take the cars, and in 20 minutes they are there. Laura suddenly shouts,
Look, there it is, there it is.
and down in the valley they see Mrs. Black's circle of old stones.
It's spectacular,
Says Uncle Stephen.
It's incredible.
Says Mum.
It's magnificent.
Says Auntie Barbara.
Wow!
Says Laura.
It's not very big.
Says Max.
Shut up, Max!
Says everyone.
Andrew, what do you think? Do you like Stonehenge? Andrew?
Dad doesn't answer. He is sleeping in the car.
Andrew, wake up now.
This time, Mum is very angry. Around the stones there is a fence. People can't touch them, but they can go very near and take photographs.
Let's get an audio guide.
Suggests Mum.
You listen and it tells you the story of Stonehenge.
Everyone gets an audio guide and they start to walk around the enormous stone circle. Uncle Stephen walks in the opposite direction and looks at his old book of mysteries. He reads something and then looks at the stones. Then he walks away. He looks at the hills and the trees near the stones.
3 hills around the stones. Yes, it is a type of triangle,
he says to himself. Then he looks at the stones again. Uncle Stephen is thinking. Half an hour later, the others return.
Stonehenge is fantastic,
They say. But Uncle Stephen is not listening. He is reading his book again and looking at the stones and the hills around them.
Time for something to drink,
Says Mum. They all walk to the small cafe near the tourist shop.
Come on, Stephen. Are you coming with us?
Finally, Uncle Stephen puts his book in his bag and follows the others. Chapter 6. A Thief. The family finally gets back to the cottage. Everyone is very happy, but they are also tired. The sun is shining and everything seems in perfect order. They park the cars and go to the cottage.
That's strange,
Says Dad.
I can't move the key. I can't open the door.
Let's try the other door.
Mum says. They walk to the small door at the back of the cottage. Suddenly everyone stops. The door is open,
Impossible!
says Laura.
Only Mrs. Black has got a key.
Mum and Auntie Barbara scream.
Thieves!
They say. Inside the cottage there is chaos. The cupboards are empty, the drawers are open, and things are on the floor.
Our money,
Says Dad.
My jewellery!
Says Mum. Uncle Stephen says.
What's missing? We must phone the police.
They look in all the rooms, but nothing is missing.
Look, our money is here. The thief doesn't want money,
Says Dad happily.
And look, my jewellery is here. He doesn't want my diamond ring.
Says Mum.
So why? What is interesting for a thief here?
Asks Max. Uncle Stephen's face is very serious.
I think I know the answer to that question. This is what the thief wants.
He says, and takes the Book of Mysteries from his bag.
That old book? But why?
Asks Max.
I am studying the mystery of Stonehenge. Some people think that it is an ancient computer.
Uncle Stephen explains.
I don't understand.
Says Laura.
Ancient people understand lots of things that we don't understand now. Things about the stars, about energy, mathematics, and communication. We think that Stonehenge is an enormous computer. It connects information to other ancient computers round the world.
Like the pyramids?
Says Laura excitedly.
Exactly. Perhaps these computers communicate with spacemen too.
Wow!
Says Max. Uncle Stephen continues.
My old book of mysteries has a secret code, but there is a symbol I don't understand. I want to understand the symbol because I want to understand Stonehenge. This computer can be very dangerous because bad people can use the information. We must protect the book, do you understand?
Yes.
They all reply.
Now, let's tidy the house. Everyone must keep their eyes and ears open.
Yes.
They all reply. The twins are tidying the house. Suddenly Laura stops and says.
Max, look. What do you think this is?
She gives her brother a small silver object. It is round, with a triangle and a strange cross in the middle.
It's got a pin at the back. It's a brooch.
Yes, perhaps it belongs to the thief. Let's give it to Uncle Stephen.
They tell their uncle the story, and he looks at the small object. He puts it in his desk, and his face is serious. He doesn't say anything. Max and Laura go into the living room.
There's something strange about that object, Laura.
Says Max.
I know that symbol.
Yes,
says Laura.
me too. I recognise it. But where from?